Thank you everyone for being here today. I want to start out by saying that I appreciate all the Spartans who have reached out to me over the last couple of days for their support. I'm here today to talk about our team and about our game against a very good opponent in Washington. Our focus and energy has been really good after these first two days of practice. And our job as a staff is to focus on our guys and get them ready and prepare for the game on Saturday. We had a team meeting on Sunday where I met with them, and I told those guys that, hey man, we got to all come together in this time of adversity, and we have to be unified through the adversity so that we can, and we need all our leaders to lead, not only the coaches, but the leaders to lead. And I told them they lead by love, encouragement, accountability, and discipline. So we have to lead. We all have to lead. This is a determined group. They worked very hard this off season. They've worked very hard so far this season. Hey, we're 2-0, right? And they're still motivated and excited to move forward in this season. We have a mission to complete, so we're mission focused. With all that, I'll open it up to questions. Thank you.
Coach, you talk about leadership. Can you just talk about Coach D'Antonio, what that means about him coming back, and what are his duties as far as the week and then game day, if you could let us know about that?
So Coach D, that's my guy, man. First coach, he hired me into my first coaching job was with Coach D'Antonio at the University of Cincinnati back in 2004, and we were together 14 straight years. They had 3 years there at the University of Cincinnati, and another 11 here at Michigan State. And Coach D brings the calming presence, the wisdom, the knowledge of being a head coach, a very successful head coach at that. And so he's bringing all that as our associate head coach. And so any and all ways he's willing to help with us, and that's what he's going to do. So he's helping in all aspects of the operation.
Harlon, you've been doing this for a couple decades, and this is obviously your first chance to be a head coach. Obviously, the circumstances are not ideal. How do you, I guess, what's this like for you, just personally and professionally, to now be in that top spot, and obviously with an undefeated team and facing a very good opponent this weekend in your debut?
I'm being totally honest here. I want to be the head coach of Michigan State, but not in this way, obviously. And so that's always been a goal of mine. I'm a Spartan through and through. Anybody that knows me knows that I am a Spartan. They will tell you that dude's green all day. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to be the head coach here. Again, not like in the circumstances. I think the players, I connect with those guys in a good way. And how I've been feeling personally is like this because of how it happened. You know what I mean? So, but I am really very, very, very excited about this coming week and this opportunity to show what I got.
Have you talked to Mel since?
I have not spoken with him.
Hello, Harlon. Lindsay Ellison with Sports Psychology Solutions, SBS. I only say the name just to give you context of the question. From a mental health standpoint, you talk about some 20 years with Coach D, and 20 years ago we didn't have social media that makes stories just take off like wildfire. So as it relates to your players, I know you got a great mental health staff, but how do you really connect with them to keep them mentally locked in, less distracted with all the things that's going on, and just using your past experience 20 years ago to now to really help them?
That's a great question. Currently, I'm meeting with all the players, all of them. Yesterday I got 27 in. I'm going for another 20 plus today, because I told them on Sunday I want to meet with everybody in the room. I started with the players individually. I'll go into the coaches, the support staff, training, everybody. Just so everybody's on the same page. Again, I keep talking about unity, and that's part of, I think, helping people mentally when we're all together and they know they have somebody to lean on and trust in. And so, when I was talking to them, and this was actually on yesterday, I should say, at the team meeting. I gave my story. I said, I'm gonna tell y'all my story really fast. So when y'all come to my office, you don't have to hear my story again. I want to hear about you guys. And so we go 5 to 10 minutes just to get everybody. Of course, I know the defensive backs, obviously, and a lot of guys on the defense. I know the offensive guys as well, but not intimately like I would want to. So that's why we're meeting with everybody, let them know that I'm open and honest. I'm there for them anytime they want to come, along with the rest of the staff. And we have things set in place there where if they need to go get some extra help or what have you, it is set in place here at Michigan State.
Right, thank you.
I know you and Alan go way back to playing days. I'm wondering how the conversation went on Sunday when he approached you about being the acting coach. And had you previously had any conversations with him about, because he mentioned about formulating contingency plans all the time. Had you ever had any inkling that should something arise that you would be in this spot?
I haven't. It's me covering up for Allen again, like I did as a player when we were players. I'm getting him now. He says it all the time. But no, I haven't had really any other conversations with him. I have talked to Allen, this has been some years ago now, I'm talking about not recently, about, hey man, I want to be a head coach, and he knew that. He knew that was some part of my plan to become a head coach someday. And this was back in, actually I'll tell you when it happened, I told him, I came back for Coach D'Antonio's daughter's wedding when I was at Florida State one summer, I think it was summer of 2018, and I told him that at the reception. So I remember that, yes.
Coach, Allen is not here, kind of symbolically backing you up. Did you know he wasn't going to be here, and does that bother you at all?
No, that doesn't bother me at all. No, Al and I go away. We know what it is. You know what I mean? There is nothing about that. Yeah, we're good.
And respecting the relationship with the players, can you kind of give us an idea of their reaction when you met with them on Sunday?
It was good. It was actually really good. And then talking with them, like I said, talking with 27 of them yesterday, and it was almost like they had a scripted answer, which fired me up because we're out at practice. I'm like, these guys, they're moving on. They're young people. They're resilient. They're going, and so they were confirming that what I saw at practice. Coach, we know what it is. Hey, we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep fighting. We're mission focused. Let's go.
No one hanging right.
No, they push it forward. Yes, yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, Ron, I got a couple of things for you. I'm just wondering about the idea of, at this point in the season, how much can you change as head coach now? How much do you want to change? How much is continuity important for these guys? Where do you sort of sit on that idea of change versus keeping things the same right now?
Well, a lot of stuff is going to stay the same. Tough, disciplined, selfless, do your job. Those are things that are staples of Michigan State football. Since I've been a Spartan since 1985. Tough, disciplined, selfless, physicality. We're going to still talk about those same things. Playing smart, fast, and physical. That's who we are. And so from that standpoint, we're going to be pretty much, that's the foundation of it, and we're going to continue to build on top of that foundation.
And then I'm also just curious about your position and your meetings and individual drills and practices. Is that still you, or have you handed that off to somebody else while you're acting head coach now?
I love coaching DBs. I do. And so the individual part, I'll still go over there and throw balls and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to, it's been 2 practices. Right. So I'm trying to wean away a little bit, but it's kind of tough. And Coach Saban never has left the DBs. Never has. He's always coached DBs. He's going to be at the corners and say he's going to be over there some kind of way. And so that lets me know that at least I can be in some capacity help with the defensive backs. Very similar to Coach D'Antonio when we were here together.
When you're not, who's that guy that's...
Coach Jim Salgado and Coach Ross Ailes. Ailes has the nickels and Jim have the nickels in the corners and the safeties if it came down to it. Okay. But absolutely, Coach Salgado.
Right. Aaron, congrats.
Thank you.
Your coaching resume is solid. I'm not sure why you haven't had an opportunity to be head coach. Perhaps you wondered that too. But is this a chance for you personally to meet the challenge and prove that you can lead a program and maybe get an opportunity to be a permanent head coach, perhaps even here if circumstances work out?
The way it's set up that way, Fred. I'm just being honest. That's just being honest about it. And I'm looking forward to this great opportunity that I'm having. And let's go. It's a great opportunity. I have desired to be a head coach since I became a college coach, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Your school is bleeding right now. Is this also an opportunity to kind of, you can't fix it alone, but to help bridge it and bring this thing back to where you think it should be?
Absolutely. Our Spartans, and they all, when I say this, all Spartans know what I'm talking about. We always talk about the chip on the shoulder, hard work and tough. Let's go back to Coach Perlis, just hearing him saying things like that over and over. Tough, we're going to make them limp out the stadium. We're going to be the hardest hitting team. So we're tough, we're Spartans, we're resilient. And for another term that I tell people sometimes, I'm a dog. Be a dog. We don't push through this as Spartans do, as Spartans will, right? Spartans will. And we will push through this. We'll become better for it, like everybody does when they come out of adverse situations. They keep fighting and keep pushing through. So I expect that to happen.
Quick clarifying question. You said you haven't spoken to Mel since, when the last time you talked to Mel?
Let's see, when Saturday was the game, right? So last time I actually spoke with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Text?
He did text me. We text, and he was all in support of the team, of the coaches and the team.
And then my question is for the players. Can you reflect and have some empathy for what they have gone through in the last calendar year? What happened in the Michigan Stadium tunnel, mass shooting, and now this. I can't imagine there's a collection of college football players ever who have dealt with what these players have to deal with and have had to.
No question, and no disrespect, but Virginia was a tough situation also. Again, young people are very resilient. They just know how to push through. I mean, it's the life that they're living in. If you're on social media or whatever, it's something going wild and crazy all over the world that they're seeing. It's almost like they're immune to it sometimes. But you can't let them just walk away and act like nothing happened. You have to talk to them and dig it out of them, and they'll talk to you. They'll talk with you. But they are very resilient, and I pray for them all the time.
You played under and coached with, but you played under some of the best coaches ever. What do you take from them that helps guide you in this?
Attention to detail and discipline.
And from whom?
Nick and Belichick, and then Coach D, all along the line. So those guys are on attention to detail and discipline big time. And it's kind of how my father never was my coach, but was very, very disciplined. Very disciplined. And so when I got with those guys, it was like, this is what I'm used to. You know what I mean? This is what I'm used to, very detailed in the things, how he would teach me and coach me up, my father. And so that's the same way those guys were and are. So I've been blessed to be able to be under such great coaching. I mean, those two guys considered the best to do it in their college and pro, arguably.
Hey, Harlon, over here too.
I got you.
I'm just wondering, the last few days with your conversation with Mark, aside from the football talk, what kind of advice or thoughts has he shared with you about this opportunity? Because it's certainly one that you guys have shared, I think.
Absolutely. He's told me some things that you're going to go back to doing certain things that we did in the past. I told him, I said, I'm thinking about doing this. And then he said, how about this? And I can't share all this stuff. I don't want to share all of it. But I'm glad he's here. Love me some Coach D, man. I love Coach D. Again, I go back to 04 when he first hired me. That was very equal when he hired me in 2004, January 2004, to me getting drafted in April of 1990. It was close to that. I was that excited for him to give me an opportunity to coach down at the University of Cincinnati. So that's my guy, and we share a lot of things that I don't like sharing with everybody, but we talk a lot and we share a lot.
And then just to follow up, have you thought about what that's going to feel like for you walking running whatever out on the field on Saturday?
I haven't, you just put it in my mind though. But I hadn't really thought about it like that. No, I haven't, but when it comes, I can imagine it's gonna be great. It's gonna probably be a little emotional, but I'll be cool. I'll be cool, I promise. Yeah.
H, we talked about conversations with Mel and Mark. Have you heard anything from Nick?
I have not heard it, but I'm not surprised though. That's Nick, man. That's Nick. But Nick is great. I mean, and I tell people this all the time, my foundation of coaching defensive backs is Nick Saban all day. Hence, Mark D'Antonio hiring me, Mel Tucker hiring me. We all speak Sabanese. So that's what it is. So that's how I got hired. And so, but he hasn't. But I know he's happy for me and will support me in any way if I call him. Yeah, Nick, you just got to know Nick. I know Nick since 1985. He's 30-something years old. Think about that.
We talk about coaches being busy. You're just about as busy as you can get with this transition, and the team that's coming in here Saturday isn't bad. Have you spent much time, you and the staff, talking with players who are pledged, recruits, how they've reacted to this news?
Yes, absolutely. I've talked to all the defensive back commits for sure, and all the coaches have handled their positions. I'm going to then go behind the coaches at the other positions between today and tomorrow and talk to those other committee guys.
Any reactions or questions that have come up a lot?
They were really good. I can't say names, obviously, you know that, but they were really, Coach, we locked in with you. We're locked in. We're with you. And they had some questions and concerns early on. Hey, you know what's going to happen, and this, that, and the other. And but they're all in right now. They're all in.
Harlon, over here.
Yes.
You mentioned sitting down with as many of the actual players as you could individually. I'm wondering what sort of questions and concerns, or what has been something that's come up repeatedly, or something that was an interesting question or concern that came up during those conversations.
Got you. What they all kept saying was, I said, how you feel? My first question to them, hey, sit down. What's your feeling about the team? How's the team? We're good, Coach. We're good. We had a team-only meeting on Sunday prior to Alan Howard coming in to talk to us. And then you had the meeting behind that on Zoom. We're good. They all said, we talked about, hey, we're on a mission. We're on a mission. And we're going to complete this mission. And so let's do what we got to do. Let's lead. Let's support the coaches and go from here. And they all said that. So that was very, very encouraging for me, because that's a sign of the unity that I was talking about. And so, but anything other than that interesting, no. I think if I had to say this, a couple of them might say, when it first happened, I was a little like, what's going on, you know? But once we had that player-only meeting, it seemed like they all got back on solid ground. They were a little shaky at first, and when they had the players-only meeting, they got back on solid ground.
Harlon, yeah, I was kind of wanted to go off of that a little bit, just in terms of you met with each player individually. If anybody had said anything to you about they were sad or angry about what had happened, and then, you know, just kind of rallying together in that sense.
Sad and angry never came up as the first 27 guys that I've spoken with. And those guys have all been the older guys as well. We tried to work with the older guys and work way down to the younger guys. But no sad or angry sympathy for Coach, but other than that, they were great.
And then just one follow-up real quick. You do have a lot of religious players on your team this year. They're very spiritual, the ones that we've been able to speak with as well. So how do you hope then that maybe some of that, you know, you mentioned everyone needing to come together to lead. How do you think that can bring people together?
I think it brings people together perfectly. The ultimate way to bring people together. So something we used to do with Coach D'Antonio was when he was here every day, every day after practice, everybody come up and he'd say, who got it? Somebody would pray. And so we did that yesterday. And so, you know, I'm looking forward to bringing that back. And when I say who got it, somebody like, I got it. A lot of times it's quiet and they wait, well, I got it then, you know what I mean? But it was immediate. So that's awesome thing.
Harlon, I understand from Sunday's press conference that Coach D is going to wear headsets.
Yes.
My question to you is his role less X's and O's and more to be a calming influence on this team and on you?
Bingo. Bingo. But you haven't been doing this for so long, Fred, that you didn't can figure things out. But yes, that's what it is more than anything. That's what it is. That's exactly, I couldn't say it better.
And he was open arms with this, right?
You already know it, yes, yes. Because he looks at me as like, that's one of my guys. So I'm gonna come back and support one of my guys. And so, Coach D, since he's been retired in the summer, he goes around, he goes to Pitt, he goes to wherever Luke is, he comes here.
He did some of your practices.
Yes, so he's been doing that, he supports his guys.
This is a two-part question, something you'll get used to. The first part, I'm wondering, do you have any injury updates on particularly Windman, and Mangum?
So y'all just, I told them, this is fine, I didn't have to laugh, but I've been around Belichick. So I'm giving Belichick answers to injuries. He's day to day.
I anticipated that. The second part of it was more of a football question as well. Your first challenge is to face Michael Penix, who you faced a couple times now. In the overseer role, do you take more of an onus and emphasis on that, knowing what he did last year against you guys, and how do you kind of get the guys away from their minds on the situation and more on the football at this point?
Well, like I said, after they had that meeting they talked about on Sunday, they've been focused. They're locked in. They know what the challenges that are ahead of us with Penix, sorry, and he's a really good football player. Really good football player. Tough to keep bouncing back from injury like he does and go out there and play like he's been playing. Dude's a player. And so we know what the challenge is before us. We're looking forward to the challenge and can't wait for Saturday.
I got two questions. Obviously, week 5 is an important time in the college football calendar. It's coming up in a couple of weeks, especially related to the transfer portal and the redshirt rule and everything. How much are you involved in re-recruiting the roster? I mean, how much of that is an emphasis just to kind of keep guys in the fold going forward?
That's always an emphasis. I mean, you never stop recruiting. And so that's always an emphasis, even through Sunday. I mean, I've only been doing this for a few days, but you never stop recruiting. You're always recruiting, even the guys that, like you said, are already in the fold. You're trying to keep them in the fold and then going after others. And so that's part of recruiting. That'll never change.
And, I guess with Washington as it relates, I mean, I guess still Tatum referred to you guys kind of still play quite a bit of off coverage, I guess, do you see yourselves playing more press man going forward? And do you think that would particularly be important against Washington, considering to reroute the receivers and such?
Well, we'll mix it up like we've been doing. I know what you've been seeing, but we'll mix it up. We've been mixing it up pretty good, and like we always done. And we're going to try to put our guys in the best position to make plays. So that's what it's really all about, and to be successful.
Harlon, I was wondering, you kind of touched on Mark's role. He was the head coach here when Penix, was playing. I mean, it seems like a million years ago, but how much input can he have with his knowledge and obviously experience with a staff that has a defensive coordinator? Most of the staff he has not worked with, but just kind of what his role is in providing input in a situation where he has knowledge of a very talented player.
Our staff is a really good staff. Elite staff is what I told them in the meeting. We have an elite staff, and so nobody has an ego where we're always trying to take in information. I think that's what all smart guys do, in my opinion. People taking in information. So any information and all information that he provides, people are locked in and listening because we want the advantage. We want to win, right? And so everybody is open to hear what Coach D has to say at all times.
We have a couple more, George, and then Steve.
Harlon, you obviously have a wealth of football knowledge based upon who you played for and who you have coached with. I don't know how much these young men know about you as a player. Do they know your nickname was a bang stick? And have they seen any highlights of you hitting people? I don't know, that might fire them up. I mean, nobody tackled it. I figure you and Charlie Thornton were the hardest hitters I've ever seen around here.
I
That's
don't
good.
bring that
Highlight
stuff
tape
up.
again.
You know, I don't, that's not my personality. What I did say the other day, I just went fast on my story with them, I told them. So when I meet with them for 5 minutes, at least have a knowledge background. But all I said was where I was, I went real fast and got through it, and that was it.
I know you're a humble guy, but that might fire them up to see some of those tackles.
I appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
George, thanks.
A couple more, Stephen and Jack will wrap it up.
Just going off an earlier question, just with the way college football is now, has anybody in these last couple of days come to you and said, I am gonna, I want a red shirt, I want to shut it down, and they want to sort of remove themselves from that, or has that been communicated to you?
Not one. Nope, nobody has.
Thanks.
Wrap it up with Jack.
H, Audrey talked about faith a minute ago. Who and what are you praying for this week?
Who and what am I praying for this week? This week in particular, I'm praying for all those impacted by the situation. All those impacted by the situation. I'm praying for our guys to be able to come out and play to the max of their God-given talents, gifts, and abilities. And I'm praying that, I pray this all the time too, that the visiting team gets here safely and gets back home safely. Those are my prayers. Some of them, not all of them.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Well, thanks,